So one of the questions I'm hearing a good amount right now is, will lower interest rates boost the housing market in 2024? And that's a valid question because that can have several different effects on the real estate market. So we're going to talk about that today. What's up, everybody? Mark Cannon, your local realtor in the Phoenix area. If you find value in these videos, will you like the video, share it with your friends, leave a comment if you have something to say. I would love to see that. I'm here to give information for people about real estate and help them grow in their real estate knowledge. So let's dig right into this. All right, so the question is, will lower interest rates boost the housing market in 2024? And there are two answers to that, yes and yes. And everybody's like, wait, what? And here's the thing. There are two yeses, but for two different reasons, right? Boost the housing market, yes, and that we might have more listings, but also yes, that we will probably have more buyers. Because here's the reality is when you look at how many people have been saying, hey, I am waiting for interest rates to come down. There's a lot of people. I looked it up online and it's like over 60%, around 62% of people have saying, hey, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. Okay, now does that tell us how many millions of people? No, it doesn't give us that actual number, but there are a lot of people waiting for interest rates to come down for them to buy. But on the flip side of that, there's a lot of people waiting to sell because listen, since we had really low interest rates in 2021 and then 2022 interest rates are going up and people have been holding on since 22, 23 to sell their home. And I'm going to show you some historical data because we have to understand like where we've come from to show us where we could potentially go. Okay, so where have we come from? We're going to look at historical data. I'm going to share a bunch of graphs and different numbers. That way you guys can see it and know where we're coming from to help us know where we're going, right? So historically speaking, how many transactions in the United States do we usually have? So since 2013, we've had about 5.2 million home sales a year on average, right? It's going to fluctuate. 2021 was really high at 6.1, but then 2023, we were at 3.9. Around that number. And that's the lowest we've had. It was lower than 0809. 0809, we were over 4 million. We were less than that because we had super high interest rates and prices were high and prices didn't come skyrocketing down. Now, did prices go down in 2023 here in Phoenix? Yeah, they did. They did come down a little bit in Phoenix in 2023. And so with that happening, people are like, okay, well, I'm going to wait. So some of the things we've been seeing is people, like I talked about earlier, was people are waiting for interest rates to come down for them to buy. Now, what we've seen from the new build community is once you get into the fives, people start buying and start getting interested again. And it's like, okay, so we're going to probably get to that later this year where we're probably going to be in the high fives later this year. But is that going to spur people to just sell like crazy? Maybe, maybe not. Now listen, people are able to buy down their interest rates so they can get maybe in the mid fives and buy it down further. So there's stuff like that happening. So if the average over the past 10 to 11 years has been about 5.2 million and we were at 3.9 last year, where are we going from here? Now, like Buffini and Company, they project that we're going to be about 4.6 million. So we're going to go up from the 3.9, but not back to totally normal numbers here in 2024 because interest rates are probably going to be high the first half of this year. And then we're going to see interest rates come down this summer, and then you're going to see it start accelerating. And you're going to see people start buying and selling again. And then in 2025, they're expecting to have over 5 million sales, about 5.3 million. That's projections, all right? And so it's one of those that we're getting back to normal. We're getting back to normal sales because prices might come down a little bit if we have enough homes come on the market. And so people are going to start buying again more as interest rates keep coming down further. Now, are we going to get down to 3%? No. Okay, don't think we're about to get to 3% and it's like, all right, let's go. Like, probably not going to happen barring something crazy where they're just going to slash all this stuff because inflation's still a thing, so they have to pay attention. That's why interest rates are still high right now. Inflation is still a thing, so they're trying to still curb it. So some other stats that we need to think about is like how many people live in the United States? It's a good question. I didn't know. I had to look it up. So if you actually looked it up, about 30 years ago, we had about just around 260 million people in the United States. Today, we have over 340 million people. That's a large jump. That's 80 million people more, and we're growing. And of all of those people, there's like 72 million millennials. And 45 million, just over 45 million of those millennials are becoming like prime home buying age. That's a lot of people. And that's not including all the boomers and Gen Xers and Gen Zers that are looking to buy homes. So it's one of those that we have a lot of people that are kind of looking to buy. And we talked about, how many people have been waiting, all those different things. What does this all mean, right? And this is where it all ties in. 2024, we're going to see a jump from 2023. 2023 was a low year. Prices came down a little bit. People are waiting to move. Some people need to sell their home to get a bigger home, or maybe they're downsizing or moving out of state, whatever it is. When interest rates start coming down, people will be able to afford more. And so they're going to look to, hey, I'm going to sell my home. I'm going to go buy a home. Because guess what? If you're buying a home right now, you can lower your interest rate. You can buy down your interest rate. And it's one of those that people are doing that stuff. So when we look at all that stuff, we're going to see a better market in 2024. That's just the nature of it. And it's going to start slow because at the beginning of the year, we're still at like 7% interest rates. Now in Phoenix, we still have low inventory. 25,000 is about normal market. We're at 16,000. And so we're going to need to see inventory come up in order to see a more balanced market where it's like, hey, maybe prices might come down a little bit, but we're going to have to see a lot more sellers come in. Right now, we haven't seen it. And we'll have to see as interest rates drop later this year, do we get more inventory or do we get more buyers? What does that supply and demand do? Right now, we don't have the supply and we still have the demand. So can demand outpace supply or can supply outpace demand is the real question. And no one knows that answer. But a lot of people think that the supply can catch up. I'll wait to see it because if supply catches up, yeah, prices might come down a little bit, but are they going to crater? No, they're not, because it's going to be a more balanced market. So that's where we have to start looking at that stuff. If you're thinking about buying or selling, I would love to talk to you about it. Just to strategize, talk through what's best for you, because that's what really matters. What works best for you. It's not about getting a sale. I'm about the relationship and making sure that you guys are getting what you need and doing it when you need to. I'm here to think through all that stuff. I'd love to sit down with you. My information's below. I hope you'll reach out soon. You've been listening to The Real.